I'm just going to go over a few things, just maybe dispel some myths and stuff that's out there. Myself, I don't have a lot of experience in soybeans on the pea, lentil, chickpea side. I'm the guy to ask. On the soybean side, I ask my counterparts to the east on what they're doing out there. So it's relatively new in my area. I just want to have guys that have good experience with soybeans and especially with some of my products going forward. So I'm just going to go over who Novozymes is. We have about 5,000 employees all over the world. They're based out of Copenhagen. Our biggest unit, I guess, is on the ethanol side. We have lots of products that break down the corn cellulose. And we invest heavily into R&D. 13% of our top line revenues directly put back into R&D. And I actually come from the fill and bias side. When it was relatively small, we didn't have the manufacturing and the R&D staff, to put all these new products in the pipeline. So going forward, you guys will see a lot of new products that are out there, like especially from a biofertility, even some biofungicides that are out there. And I fit into this bioegg. This is just a small component of the Novozymes business. And I'll just maybe mention a few things like on the next slide here too. There's been a lot of activity I'd say last year or so with some major acquisitions. The biggest one being BASF bought out Becker Underwood. So there's a lot of investment going into these biological companies. I believe Bayer bought out AgriQuest on some biofungicide products, as well as Syngenta acquired. I believe it was. It's too bad Mark's still not here. I think it was. Just trying to think of the company. There's a bunch of them out there, but so going forward, you're going to see a lot more activity out of some of these products. I'm mainly going to talk about biofertility. I'm going to talk about Optimize, which is registered for use on soybeans, and I'm just going to touch on Tagteam at the end too here. So our product portfolio here in Canada, Jumpstart, you guys all remember Provide, or some guys still call it PB50, for use on canola. You can use it on a wide variety of crops. Tagteam, Optimize, and Celtec are all registered on pulse crops. And for you alfalfa growers out there, Nitrogen Gold. So just going to talk a little bit about Optimize. Can I have a show of hands for people that have heard about Optimize? Not a lot. Okay. We had it registered 2 years ago. Like I said, I'm from the fill and bias side. So when we acquired EMD Crop Bioscience, this is their flagship product. What it is, that's a long word, lipochitooligosaccharide. It's basically a signal molecule. It occurs naturally in the soil, and from this standpoint, I remember when I was in school, like when I took soil microbiology, like we went through the nitrogen fixation and all that stuff, but this is actually new technology that's come out in the last few years. So basically what the plant does is it sends, say a soybean plant is nitrogen deficient, it'll throw out a signal. And that initial signal is called a flavonoid, and that flavonoid talks back to the root here. I'll just go to the next one here. So rhizobia senses that plant signal, and that's an LCO, so it sends back to the plant saying, we're here. So what happens is it opens receptor sites, allowing that rhizobia to infect the root, and that's basically how nodulation begins. The problem with this cycle is you start running into spring conditions where it's really wet, dry, cold soils. That plant's going to be majorly stressed. So this is actually dependent. So if you have a really stressful spring, that process might not happen till 10 to 12 days later than it should be. So basically, we synthetically produce this compound at the start of the plant's life cycle. So you're going to get earlier production of those nodulation sites. This is just a visual. This is just a visual, so you have your flavonoids, your initial signal, sends back to the rhizobia. Rhizobia sends these signals called LCOs back to the root hair, and then the root hairs will be able to produce those root hairs, allowing nodulation to begin. I'll just go back to like on our Tagteam products. When you talk phosphate fertility, you actually get increased root hair production. Those root hairs are already going to be on the plant, but when they're in the presence of rhizobia, they're going to have a higher probability of that plant producing a nodule. All right. And this chart's kind of busy, but this is just a natural process. The first one here. So you're going to have your seed placement, germination, and then your seedling starts to develop. Well, here this is where all the signaling compounds are produced. When we synthetically make the proc, you're introducing that at the very start. So that plant will allow it to be a more efficient plant. So it can compete with with poor soil conditions and environmental conditions and whatnot. Just here's some benefits of it. So you get an enhanced root system development. So you're gonna have improved nutrient uptake as well as soil moisture, emergence rate, vigor, as well as improved stand. I think on an ROI standpoint, you get about a 3-to-1 return on your initial investment, similar to a Tagteam product. And here's some more. Just if you can take home message, just basically better plant health. So here's another visual. I can show you guys these all day, but I'll just keep rolling here for time's sake. So.
So is Optimize a granular or a liquid? Or?
It's a liquid. I don't know if you guys probably heard it before. It's actually available in a granular form on the pea lentil side, but on the soybean side, we just figured we'd just keep it at the application level. So there's basically two sizes. One, the small size treats a 50 unit, which is probably going to be popular around here because those 200 unit packages, it treats a lot of seed. And just, I don't know what the average producer here is going to be putting in for acres, but
the most is going to be this year about a half section.
Half section, yeah. So yeah, okay. It's just available in the liquid form, yeah. And then a lot of guys are putting Tagteam granular in furrow, so you have the option of going Tagteam or Cell-Tech in furrow as a granular. And here's just the proc packages right here. So it's basically got 2.5 liters. It's just on the 50 units, so you have a 2.5 liter bladder of Optimize, and then our liquid additive basically is an extender. With the majority of the seed treatments that are out there, so I don't know, Mark probably talked about Vibrance on beans. We have a 120-day planting window on that, whether it's sequentially, so when you apply the seed treatment proc first and then the inoculant, that's a sequential, whereas simultaneously that's when you're putting both on it at once. Or a tank mix. You could actually mix this right in with the Vibrance and you still have 120 days. I think our competition is about 60. And we just got this registration in the summer. And I guess that was the talk out east, like in the Ontario, Quebec, regions, where they grow a lot of soybeans. That was the talk of some of the trade shows that were out there. So, yeah. And then the thing here too, I don't want to dispel this too because everyone always asks me, well, why can you get a 120-day planting window versus a pea lentil? Because a lot of you guys in here all grow peas and lentils. A bradyrhizobium is a lot different than a leguminosarum. Say, for example, like a bag of Tagteam peat, I crack open that bag, you only have 48 hours to use it on seed. This is 120 days. So the actual rhizobium, it can handle a lot more, you can throw more seed treatments at it than a pea lentil. it's just the nature of the product. So, yeah.
Your feed label window hasn't changed.
No, no. Actually, shouldn't say that, we actually advertise, on our label rate, it's 48 hours. We have an internal sheet where you could extend that to 72 hours, but no more than 72 hours. Kind of like spraying Horizon at the label rate's 40 and guys stretching to 50. No more than 50, right? Otherwise, your level of population, your rhizobium population is going to crash, and you're going to have no on-seed stability with that product. So, yeah. And this is what they've been doing out in Manitoba. So there's actually a lot of these US seed treaters that are popping out in that part of the world. And it's just, you have to be really careful with beans. You just can't, run them up an auger and just treat them like your peas and lentils. You have to have, fairly sophisticated equipment. And especially with some of these new seed treatments that are out there, like Vibrant's, like if you're out even, 30%, that's quite a bit of cash, right? So, and actually I had a treating workshop last week at the office, and actually I didn't realize that beans are so sensitive. They can't, I don't know if you guys heard, but like they can't take a vertical fall more than 5 feet, I think it is.
Okay.
Something I learned last week. We had a seed treatment application specialist come in and spend a little bit of time with us, and they show us like bean ladder type of equipment just to keep the beans from, I guess, more than a 6 foot vertical drop. I guess you can damage the seed coat on that as well. So, yeah. But I think Terry's going to come in and treat some. So Terry's got a drum treater, so yeah, like product coverage won't be an issue. It's basically you need a piece of equipment like that to get the optimized products on when you're talking a seed applied product. Just because you can actually get that product, the right application rates are on there, as well as seed handling of that seed, because there's a lot of value in that seed. It's expensive, and you're putting a great deal of investment. Like even the optimized, by the time you have your optimized and your increased rate of granular in furrow, you're probably looking at $20 to $25 an acre. So it is just on the inoculant side. I'm not sure what the seed, you guys have obviously heard that side, like from your proc literature, but there's a lot of value in that seed, so you want to treat it right, definitely. I'm just going to move on here. Does anyone know, like with the, actually I have, if you guys just before you leave, I did print some application, because a lot of that gets confusing when you talk units per acre and all that stuff. I have a chart with correlated to all our products, so if you guys want to pick one of those up before you leave, because it does actually point you guys in the right direction. Because when I first started, because I'm old school, I go by bushel rate, or even on pounds. Everything's correlated by the units. When you're talking a seed applied product, when you're talking granular products, everything's correlated by the acre. But the seed applied can get pretty confusing. So I'll have those on this front table before you guys leave. So yeah, I'm just going over some of our seed treatment compatibility. This Cruiser Max Vibrance we have 120 days. So most of the major seed treatments out there we have at 120-day planning window. So I'm just going to talk about Tagteam real quick. So this is our dual action product. I can kind of correlate it from peas and lentils. So it's got a Brady Rhizobia strain in it, as well as a Jumpstart in it, so the Penicillium bly. In this part of the world, well, especially if you get into heavier clays, but most of the soils around here or in Western Canada are calcareous in nature, so you're looking at calcium and magnesium tying up your soil phosphate. What Jumpstart basically does is it breaks the bond between magnesium and the calcium in the soil, making that soil phosphate more available to that crop. So yeah, and it's about a 3-to-1 return. So we've done all these trials and stuff. You probably get about 2.5 to 3 bushel an acre response on a Tagteam proc consistently throughout each area. And this is just they have these. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Valley Soybean Expo out in Manitoba. It's a big grower day. I'm going to make a point in going to it this summer. It's kind of a tough time because, like, you know, if you have smaller red lentils that you're combining, you might be right in the middle of combining when they have this expo. But it's a great big research field day, and they just did some. This is just a quick fertility trial, so just a single action inoculant and Tagteam. You know, there's probably about a 3 bushel an acre spread there, and then they played around with different rates of phosphate. So your biggest bang for your buck is Tagteam and 20 pounds of phos. So. And this is just what's available on the soybean side. Our recommendation is our label rate is 5 bushel an acre. Some people, I know there's some myths that are out there, say double the granular rate. If you want to play around, especially on the higher end, I know guys are getting like, you know, 5 to 7 extra bushel an acre out of going that higher rate. So I'm talking 7 to 10 pounds an acre, but it does significantly increase your initial inoculant investment. So if some of you guys are interested, like I do have some demo product out there. I want to get as many trials out there as I can. So if you guys want to talk to me after my presentation and take your names down, and I want to get some data in this part of the world because we have a lot in Manitoba but none locally here. So yeah, have you guys any concerns or what you guys have been told that, you know, go on these meetings throughout the winter? I know they had, I went to one at the Pulse Days and he was really pumping like 10 pounds an acre, which I think is a little for myself. Like I'm selling the product. If you guys want to go 10 pounds an acre, go ahead. But it is a little harsh. Like my recommendation is about 7 pounds an acre. Is that everyone on par?
Well, yeah, we're hearing that. We're hearing everywhere up to double.
Yeah, I wouldn't go double. I would go like a 7 pound an acre is probably really lots. You know, I've heard some guys out in Manitoba. I do have some pictures here. I'll go back to that one, but this one here, this is taken out by I believe it's Starbuck, Manitoba. So this is liquid inoculant here, single regular or recommended rate of liquid and granular inoculant. Or sorry, this is just single. This is just your liquid inoculant. This is your liquid inoculant and granular inoculant. So, you know, you're looking at a pretty good yield bump there.
What Tagteam was that?
This is Tagteam, yeah. Yeah, this is Tagteam. And this one, there's a gentleman just outside of Winnipeg. He didn't know, or the agronomist was walking his crop, and they didn't know what the heck was happening in his field. And that was, I guess, this is where they ran out of granular inoculant. So there's a pretty good visual right there. Liquid's still going on, but they ran out of, like there's still a single action there, but there's no granular in furrow. Yeah. And I don't know, is there anyone here that has planters? You have a planter? Well, they're actually going liquid in furrow with Tagteam. I don't know if you have a liquid kit on there.
We pull a tank behind ours, so it's going to have a granular going down.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I know some of those like when we calibrate or when we do our research or whatever, everything's calibrated on a linear foot. So I think what's your inch spread on that plant? 15, yeah. So you can get away with using less granular, but you're still spraying that product. Just when you're seeing like your peas and lentils, a 10-inch versus a 12-inch, your inoculant's going to be cheaper per acre on a 12-inch than a 10-inch, just because you're spreading it out more, right? So, but a lot of guys have they have liquid kits on their planters. but you're talking guys, they're also seeding corn and soybeans, right? So they're making that investment in a planter. So. Okay. Yeah, and that's just the same. Actually, this is at Crop Show. If you guys had a chance to go through our booth, this is our soybean plant. So I took this with my phone on my just with my iPhone. So we just grew these up in the lab. So we have the Tagteam and Optimize in this on the far left, a check in the middle, and then just recommended rate of Optimize on the right. So. I think that concludes my presentation here. If you guys got any questions, more questions, just shoot them at me. I got a little bit of time, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just switch over computers if that's okay.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
No.
You still put phosphorus with it when you use that stuff, Tagteam?
Yeah, we're still telling people. I missed the presentation. Someone said that they require a pretty good phosphate application with them. I missed that presentation, but I always recommend, 15, 20 pounds of phosphate with that seed. Some guy, what Jumpstart does, or the Jumpstart component Tagteam, it actually makes that seed place blend more efficient, because at the end of the day, 1152, you're looking at maybe a 30% efficiency rate on that product. You're not going to lose it. It's just going to, it's going to stay in the soil environment. It breaks down over time, but you're only going to probably utilize 30% of that product that year. So, and what the Jumpstart component does, it makes better access. So I call Jumpstart Tagteam like almost like a phosphate fertility tool at the end of the day. So, yeah. But then you talk to other growers and they don't recommend any phosphate at all. But I always go on the recommendation of throwing at least 15, 20 pounds of product down with your seed place blend. So, yeah. Any more brain busters? No.
On lentils, if you coat the Tagteam peat with polymer, how long's your time before seed?
On that standpoint, you have to watch, because there's different polymers have different attributes or benefits. I always say, if it's good 48 hours out of the box, it's 48 hours on the seed. We did a test with an internal test, and the most we got was an extra week out of the polymers. I don't want to, dispel the polymer guys, because they have good procs. It's just, really have to watch, because there's so many different polymers out there. Like, you go to Southern California, and that's where most of them come from, and there's piles of them out there, right? And then same thing goes on canola. I'm just going to go on the canola side of things. Like, when you buy your Pioneer Hybrid canola seed, if you're using Helix Extra or whatever the new Vibrance proc that's come out, the polymer that those guys are using, it's extending it to like 26 to 28 weeks. Where if I go out and hand treat it for you, you got about 30 days. So on a simple answer on the pea lentil side, I would just stick to 48 hours on that label. So.
But are you talking more like the sugar type polymer?
I don't know, I got some done last year, and
Yeah. But
it
yeah,
wasn't
that's the stuff.
Tagteam, it was just the peat.
Yeah.
Peat got 30 days.
Yeah. See, they have their own lab that they're sending it away to, and it's just like who do you There's so many different protocols on those labs. Like we've only found, like, on our specs, we could only get 7 days out of certain polymers. And there's some were detrimental to the rhizobium. So you really have to watch the ones, there's certain ones that are out there that just don't work well with them. So, yeah. But always check with me first before you start start mixing stuff together, because I've seen some bad things go down in my day, especially on the seed compatibility stuff. There's certain products out there will will absolutely kill the rhizobium and the jumpstart too. So you got to really watch.
So you're saying once you dump a bag of Tagteam in the
Oh,
bag,
sorry. I'll answer his first, and then I'll head over there.
Rob answered.
Okay. Sorry.
yeah, so I didn't hear.
Yeah.
So you dump a bag of Tagteam in your air tank.
Yeah.
So you're saying could last up to 72 hours.
Granular's different because our process, it's almost like impregging fertilizer. So if you open up a bag of granular, you got about a month to use it. Just keep it out of the sun. It's a totally different formulation. So like lots of guys that, say if they get rained out, just empty the proc out of your tank. Biggest thing is keep it out of the sun, keep it out of heat, and you can reuse that stuff 10 times over. Yeah.
So if you got a translucent like a plastic tank, it could break down.
Yeah, potentially if it's been left in there for a week or something like that. But yeah, it's a lot more consistent of a product. So yeah, and that goes for soybean or peas and lentils or chickpeas or whatever you're using it on. So it's just a peat is it's not a stable carrier compared to a granule. There's certain things that like when we make our peat. Like actually, peat is a sterile product as well because when we make our peat products, whether it's soybean, pea, lentil, or chickpea, we actually send it away to get sterilized. So we kill any kind of foreign, organisms that could enter that bag. So we send it away to get radiation treated, kills everything on the surface. But then when you open up that bag, who knows what's getting in there, and it actually can be detrimental to that rhizobium. Whereas granular is not a sterile product. Just the way we formulate it, it's pretty stable on those granule prills. So, yeah, and then liquid's not very sterile at all. So, yeah.
Well, I thought you had about 48 hours using a bag like the granular.
No, it's good for like a month. Yeah. Might be hard to understand, but yeah, I've been asked that question 10 times over every spring. So, yeah. But I see a lot more granule sales almost cannibalize my peat to the point where I don't have a lot of peat sales anymore. There's more and more guys are going to the granular route. It is more, it's a more stable product. It's actually a more convenient product as well, right? So, because all you have to do is calibrate your air cart and you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, equipment's changing, tanks are changing.
Yeah. And like I've been working with a lot of like treaters that are out there too. So if you guys do have any questions or concerns, if I don't know the answer, I know certain people I can talk to that will get you an answer. Especially, I didn't realize in that workshop that I went to last week, there's a lot of specialized equipment when it comes to soybean treating equipment. So, like that vertical drop, I would have never known.
Well, and I was just telling the guys earlier that just last night I got my laddered bean bin,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for that.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
And don't move the seeder on when it's really cold out. I've heard the guy out in Eastern Canada told me that too. So,
Well, we're all going to learn a lot.
yeah. Okay. Thank you for your time.